Hey, you guys, we are here to interview Lynda today. We're going to talk a little bit about her phase 2 journey, but also the bulk of it, we're going to talk about her following my P3tolife program. It's for phase 3 after finishing phase 2. The whole purpose is to stabilize your weight loss. And, we've never had anything like this before. So that's kind of what led to the creation of it, because for any of you guys who've done a P3 or are approaching one, it's a very nerve-wracking to think about it. I've been through 5 of them myself, and it was always like, I feel scared, I don't know what to eat, and you don't want to ruin all that hard work you've put in. So that's where the program came from. And Lynda, she's gone through it. She's followed the original meal plan that goes with the program and done really well. Not only stabilized, but even lost a few pounds, which I keep telling people you don't have to lose weight. If you are, you can add calories, which is what she's been doing. But just to show you the success level of it, and we'll just kind of hear from her mouth how it's gone for her. So welcome, Lynda.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's such a delight to be able to say I finished P3. All right.
I know. I'm so glad.
And
Cool.
the success is there because I think people were so nervous to start it, everything I was reading. So I was like you, I was scared and terrified, and I only wanted to do it once. So
Because this was your first P3 you've ever done, right?
first P3, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, and I
Gotcha.
want to stay that way. Just do one and
That's
done.
it. I'm done.
So,
Yeah. And you look fantastic, by the way, too. So.
but yeah, I was so grateful, and I literally stayed on longer just waiting for this to come out, even though they tell you not to, because I was terrified to get
I'm
off.
so glad it came
Life
out when
after
it did then. My goodness. I was like really rushed. Like it was already 6 weeks later than I had intended, and I was feeling bad. Like, oh my gosh. Like, because, a lot of people start phase 2 in January every year around
Yeah,
there. So
yeah,
I knew, and that was kind of why my intention was to come out with the phase 3 program sometime at the end of January, because I was like, okay, a lot of people are going to be starting phase 3, and I was like, this would be great if this was the year that people could, transition successfully. And but I just had so much to do, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get it out, and I just was. And then thankfully, like between me and my virtual assistant, I think it ended, I can't remember if it was like mid-March, but yeah, so it was about 6 weeks later than I had intended. But at least it wasn't like months and months later, but so
right.
just in time.
I think I only went over 7 days, and I kept thinking,
That's
well,
not
if
bad,
you
yeah.
develop the immunity to it or whatever,
Yeah.
resistance to it, oh
Yeah.
well, then you'll be done. But I was just ever so grateful. The timing was perfect,
Good.
and I was so pleased to be able to get it and put it all together and just devour everything. And while I was waiting, I kept reading everything that you had, and you were saying that you were working on. I think it's going to come out. It's going to come out. So
I know. I wanted to follow through. I felt bad. Like, I've been telling everybody that this is coming out, and then I can't just like be a total flake, So,
well, the pressure was on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-edged sword, to be honest. It's like,
Wow.
I don't know if you've been on my Instagram at all, but I would even do Instagram stories on there, and I would show people like, oh, here I am photographing my latest P3 recipe, and like I do stuff like that, just to kind of keep you guys abreast of where I'm at. Like, oh, this is where I'm at. I think this is where I'm about the time I think I'll be done, and it was good because it helped me to stay on task. Like, it's hard to do an entire year-long project that's a lot of work if you don't, like, if no one knows about it and you don't know if anyone cares, and you know what I mean? Like, I mean, who's
focused on it?
Yeah, so to do that much hard work, it's like I needed to be in touch with you guys and telling you guys about it, because that's what helped me stay motivated, Otherwise I wouldn't have done it. But then the other side of that edge there is that it also creates that responsibility and the pressure, like, because I have some health issues, so there's times when I really don't feel well and I can't work, and I have so much brain fog, for instance, or my energy level's so low that I know what needs to happen, but I just can't do it for a few days or whatever. And during those times I'd feel really dark, like I just can't do anything right now, and I feel so bad. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this because I told everyone, And so there were those moments that were pretty rough, but in the end, it was worth it. Like, now to see everybody doing it, there's actually like 500 members right now.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness!
I don't know if I mentioned that because did I say this to you? So this is what
Not to
happened.
me.
Okay, so here's the story, because you're on my P3 to Life email, so actually I realized you guys may not know this. So initially, when I released the program, I said, I'm going to let in the first 200 people, right? Because I didn't,
Yeah.
and that was strategic, because I didn't want to have too many. I wanted to interact with you guys and like make sure that I can help,
And you
see what
did.
needs, and tweak with things as needed. And I'm like, if there's too many people, I might need that. I'm only one person, so I was concerned
Right.
about that. This is what happened though. I sent the email out, and I thought, oh, maybe it'll take a week or two. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes to get that many. 2 hours later, there was over 200 members that had signed up. And I thought, oh my goodness, like okay, like I was not expecting that. And I didn't know what to do, because I thought, well, half of the people on my email list probably haven't even gotten the email yet. And I felt bad, like, well, what if they're starting P3 and now they can't, and they didn't even get a chance, like they didn't even open the email and it's already closed. Yeah. Like,
yes. Oh, how disappointing.
Yeah, so then I sent another email to the rest of my list and said, I wasn't expecting this to happen, so this is what I'm going to do. I'll let whoever wants to come in right now come in, just as long as you know it is a tester program.
Yes.
And then I'm refining it, and it's not completely done, just so you know that. But if you want to get in, because when you start P3, that's when you're starting. You can't put it off for 3 months. So that was why I felt like, I want whoever wants to do it right now to have a chance, like, because the meal plan's there, it's done, so that's what ended up happening. So basically over the next few weeks, it ended up being about 500 members. So yeah, so that was.
I didn't know you were up to 500.
Yeah.
I knew it. And I was at my daughter's because she had the baby, and so I was there. And I think I remember like pulling out my credit card and as I'm driving.
You were one of the people that filled up in the 2 hours. I was not expecting that at all. Yeah. So it was a little.
Well, and I was so worried. I was like, oh, what's this going to cost,
Yeah,
and when it saw 75, I was like, oh, that's nothing. That's great.
Well, good. I mean, as a tester program, I wanted it to be reasonable. It was like, it was a lot of work, and there's a lot there. But since it's a tester, and I wanted it to be enough, too, that the people would take it seriously. Because it's like, if I pay $5 or $10 for something, I might just, like, not even look at it. Like, oh, sure. So I wanted them to have enough skin in the game to, like, follow it, But then also be reasonable, because I'm still testing this out and tweaking. And you guys have helped greatly in helping me refine it. Like, it was based on feedback from some of you guys that I ended up adding the simplified plan and now the build your own meal plan kit. So I mean, that's a huge addition that I didn't actually think of on my own initially. So yeah, so it was good.
Well, I can see where the simplified would be so great for somebody who, like we talked about earlier, who has
no, it's just the truth of the matter.
Time and just a busy schedule. I'm at that point where I have time to cook, so I wanted to follow the regular.
And that's what's great now about having these 3 ways. It's going to be so flexible. Like, kind of no matter who you are, you're going to be able to find a plan that fits your personality and your circumstances in life, I think, so.
Yes. Well, and you make it foolproof, because you've got the recipes, you've got the shopping list, you've got the tools, you've got products that you suggest that work with you. So, I mean, it truly is foolproof. So, if you can get through the hCG part, which wasn't so bad, I didn't think, the P2, then you're almost a guaranteed success to grab this P3 and go through it, because it's just, and I don't know, I mean, I didn't really gain, so I don't know if it was just your body, if that makes the difference. I had read some people had gained and
gained
so
in P2 or P3?
On P3.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I mean, following.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think part of it is just that it is easy to overeat at first when you first come off P2. I don't know. Like, for me, I found that was a struggle, because you can be low carb, but it's still easy to overconsume calories, especially because a lot of low carb foods like almond flour or whatnot are very calorie dense,
Yes, yeah.
And I didn't realize that. I didn't know that a little tiny quarter cup of almond flour is 200 calories or whatever. It's like, so I think it's just there's so much that I didn't even initially know, so that when it's designed so that you get enough food and you get the taste and it's the right calories, then it works, But I didn't know all that stuff initially either, so. Yeah.
Well, you put such a tremendous amount of hard work and effort. I mean, you are just, I love that even the dietitians have reviewed and just totally over. I mean,
I was glad.
And if you don't take a regular person's testimony on it. If you've got a registered dietitian saying
Yes.
this
Yeah.
is,
I
she's
felt
blown
like that
out
was
of the saddle.
Yeah, I felt like that was important to have professionals look it over, because
Oh, yeah.
I want to take this to some of the weight loss clinics eventually, potentially, and I thought they're gonna be like, who are you, little mommy blogger?
Yeah.
Like, how do because I thought they might want to offer it to their hCG patients, because most clinics don't have any plan for phase 3. I've actually researched this. Very few clinics have any specific plan for their patients to follow after P2, so I thought they might be interested in that. But yeah, when I come to them, I'm like, this needs to be backed up by professionals. Like, so
For
yeah,
the credibility.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's
Right.
where that came from, and I was delighted that they understood and agreed that it was a good way to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Well, you found your niche. You're amazing, and you have just. I think you're going to help so many hundreds and hundreds of men and women
I
that.
hope so. It's exciting to hear people like you guys, like you email me and be like, I've been on it and I'm stable, or I haven't gained any weight, and it never gets old.
That has to
Honestly.
feel good to help people
Yes,
too.
it does. It feels so satisfying. Yeah, yeah.
The way I got to hCG was I go to a bioidentical doctor for hormones. They were
Yeah.
horrific, and then I wasn't diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, but I mean hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
But when he tested me, my thyroid was functioning, in basement level, along with all the other hormone issues that I had, female hormone issues.
Yeah.
And I'd been going to him for about 2 years, and he kept saying, "Oh, when we get your everything squared away, that weight will start coming off." Because I've always worked out like a fiend, and that's how I always controlled my weight, was with diet and exercise. But then once I went through menopause, I just started packing on the pounds, and it didn't matter what I did; it wasn't working, and it was because the hormones and my thyroid were just working against me. And I worked as a nurse, so it was a stressful job, and so you may not get a lot of sleep, and you ate at weird times, and so that just kind of set me up for a really bad pattern. So anyhow, he suggested it at Christmas time when I went in for my pellet implant.
Yeah.
But he told me to come to him because he does it, and I trust him, except that it was going to be, I think he quoted me $269 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then it was a 2-hour drive, and I had to come every week and weigh.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, I'm quite capable of being accountable to myself.
Yeah.
And my husband's going to go, no.
Yeah.
So then I started researching, and you popped up. And then I started watching all your YouTube things, and I was like, maybe I should look at this a little closer.
Yeah.
And I was too like that about hCG. I was like,
Well, when you're a person who works out like you do, we're aware of like muscle and like being healthy, and so it kind of at first is like a warning symbol, like with the 500, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I just knew that's not healthy. In fact, I have to confess, I tried for 2 days to do 500 calories on my own.
Just on your own, yeah.
I thought I was going to rip my right arm off and eat it before it was 8 o'clock at night. I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
So when I researched it and started reading, about the abnormal fats being released and you're actually circulating those calories, it started making a whole lot more sense. And then the fact that you had already done all the legwork on researching the companies to find who was legit, because to me that was a risk, injecting that in,
Yeah.
And I did the injections because it doesn't bother me. It's just a little tiny insulin, nothing. And
yeah,
I just wanted, well,
you know what it is.
And then the other thing is, I just wanted to do it once and be done. I didn't want to have to worry about that all day long. And one of the things that was so awesome that they didn't mention that you told us about was adjusting it, because I know there were a few days, maybe 3 in the whole process I was doing it, that I was just starving, and I thought, oh, I can hear you going, adjust it.
Yeah.
So then, once you adjusted it down, it was okay again, because you're not supposed to be that hungry. And
well, good. Could you just share real quick what the dosage change was for you, when you got hungry and what you lowered it to? Do you remember? No?
I think what I did, did I save all those documents? I wrote everything down at one point.
I'm just always curious about that.
Well, I kind of followed what you said. You should see my chicken scratch, because it was
mine are like that too.
every morning in the bathroom. So it looks like I started out at 0.2.
Okay, so 200 IUs probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started there, and that was okay for like a little while.
Yes, and then it looked like I went just down one day I dropped it down 1 and then dropped down another 3. And I stayed there for quite some time, and then ended up dropping that down to 0.15.
Gotcha. So that's 150. Gotcha. That actually sounds very similar to me. I had started, I think, on 175 when I first started. And then, like, I don't know, I think a couple weeks in, I started getting really hungry.
Right.
And, you know, I can't actually even remember now, like, how I originally learned about needing to change dosage. I'm sure I learned about it online somewhere. I wouldn't have just figured that out on my own.
You would think, well, why would I want to reduce the dosage?
Yeah, because a lot of people think, like, oh, the more the better.
The more the better, yeah.
You know, which is actually, yeah, you would kind of think that, like, oh, but then it's like, oh, too much and too little makes you hungry. And it's such a weird, and it's such a finite, very, very tiny.
And you're scared to drop it too much because you're like, oh. Because the days that you're hungry, you are so hungry.
Yeah. Like you said, you're just like, I'm going to chew my child's arm off.
Exactly. And you know, it's funny, several years ago, I read about miracle noodles, and I was like, oh, those sound terrible. Thank goodness you suggested them, and I made the purchase, and I had to buy them online because obviously I don't live.
Right.
We have one grocery store, and I love it that they don't have anything like that. And then, to me, that was like cheating when I was on P2.
Yeah.
But it helped me so much.
Cool.
And then I threw in the riced cauliflower and broccoli quickly, even in that phase.
Yeah.
And so even I thought I must be cheating, although I really wasn't.
Yeah.
When I was hungry, it would give me that feeling of full.
Right.
And then I would panic if I got down to 2 packages in my refrigerator because I had to order them from Amazon and just hope they came in time. So coming into P3, it is just awesome because if I get hungry, I always keep some riced veggies and hard-boiled eggs. I think I mentioned that to you. And my miracle noodles, because you can just throw it in really fast. And when you're hungry, and
now
you gotta go. And then the other thing I do is I don't leave. If I know, like yesterday I was gone all day, I don't care who I'm with. I pack my cooler with my food, and if they don't like it, so what, you know? But I always try to go prepared, because if not, you'll catch yourself, and you'll be out, and then you're more tempted to stop and get something that you shouldn't have. And so that's helped me, and I love your recipes, how if they do 2 servings or 4 servings. For instance, yesterday I redid that buffalo chicken salad. I love that.
Cool.
So I took that with me and ate it, and then had that for lunch. So it's nice, even though I'm retired now pretty much. Yeah. I feel for the ladies who are still in that working environment, and my children are raised. So I have the time to prepare all those things. Right. Whereas if you're working, I mean, I would have planned it where I had to do it on the weekend and just plan my week is kind of how if I were still working. Right. And it's so easy to do. And with me shopping, because yesterday I stopped and had to go to 2 grocery stores, but I shopped for the whole week. So I don't have to, because I can't just run out and get a lot of the things that, you know, we have. And I appreciate that. It's just, you made it so easy because it's step by step. It's pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, you know, you just do it. And I have to say this, every one of the recipes, you know, I was trying to pick out my favorites. Yeah. But I think I liked it because there's such a variety. It made me eat things. I'm not a huge shrimp fan. I love seafood, but I ate the shrimp and I loved it. Wow, that's great. Do chicken thighs, never. Wow. And now I'm cooking them and I'm like, these are pretty good. Oh, I'm glad. So, I mean, I love that. And then last night, what did I have? I don't usually eat pork ever, and I had the pork, what was it? Cacciatore. Oh, yes. That is divine. Yes. Because I was gone all day, so I threw it in the crock pot and left it. So it was really, really good.
I'm so glad, because it's funny, you know, I tend to do the same thing where I start eating like the same meat and the same few vegetables, and that's kind of my whole life. And my goal was to kind of really help us all get out of our comfort zone and have variety, because I feel like you end up feeling happier eating healthy long term, like when you have that variety, because you don't just kind of get sick of the same thing. Right. You know?
Yes. Oh. Yeah. Well, my husband always goes, oh, it's chicken, 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 fish. Chicken, 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 fish. Right. And then chicken, 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 fish. Yeah, so that's kind of our routine. Gotcha. But the other thing, he's even tasted a couple things and said he liked them. I'm like, good, I'll start doubling up then, and you can eat my food then. But don't you touch it before. Yeah. How funny. And another thing I did, I think you even suggested it, if I got really hungry and I had an extra portion of one of the breakfasts, whether it's one of my favorites is the sun-dried tomatoes, but the bowls, you know, I think they're so that would even be something, because you're not, what are you busting 200 calories on that maybe at the most? So
I remember,
if you're, you know, starving and I think too, you mentioned this also, and it helps, is to eat to hunger. So if you're eating, which I followed your plan here's I did a 3-ring binder thing and put it together, which I'm sure everybody does it. But it's all
that's great. It's a great idea, you guys.
and then tabbed it for my calendar, and so then I would just go in and use it. But I just followed it because I'm like, she's done this, she's prepared it, just follow it and go. But then again, if I got hungry, I would either revert to the rice or eggs or whatever, and then even those little breakfast things.
Exactly, because that was the point. It's like when you design something for like, oh, you know, this is for everyone, there's no way to tailor it perfectly because everybody does have different metabolic levels. So that was the whole point. I like want to make sure you guys know, like, follow it as a baseline, and then either some people actually were like, well, the serving size is actually too big and I'm full, do I have to eat the whole thing? And I was like, oh no, you can eat less if you want, because sometimes when people first come off P2, you just haven't been eating much, so it doesn't take much to fill you up the first week, and then usually your appetite starts coming back. But so I was like, don't eat if you're not hungry, but then others are feeling hungrier because their metabolism's a little higher, and then definitely add on, because the whole point is to be able to eat as much as you can without gaining weight, you know.
And that's just it. You never feel deprived. And I'm always amazed. I fix my husband's plate, and he'll go, don't put too much on. And I walk out with mine, and it's melted, and I'm like chowing down. But I never felt deprived. And I always felt, and I think it's the volume of the vegetables that we're throwing in, or even out of the American.
And that was strategic, because I'm just a person. I don't know if it's genetic, but I do like to eat a lot. Like, so
me too.
I'm just a big eater. Yeah, to this day, like I've been maintaining you guys for, you know, it'll be 5 years in November, but like I still eat quite a bit. So it's like, for me, when I designed it, it was like, this has to have volume. Like because I actually get kind of panicky if I feel like I might not be able to eat as much as will feel good. You know? So I'm like, okay, we got to make sure everyone feels like they have enough, and not like they've run out at the end of the day and there's just nothing and they have to not eat when they really want to, or, you know. So.
And the other thing is, when you threw in those desserts, every one of those are just divine.
Good.
And that was another thing. You just felt like, oh, and I still get to have a smoothie tonight. You know, I don't know. It has been the perfect plan. And I've done a lot of things in the last 15 years trying to get that menopause weight off.
Yeah.
And you know, used to when I was younger and everything worked well, I controlled my weight with diet and exercise, and it always worked up until that point. And then it didn't matter what I did, nothing was working. And I was thinking, am I just going to have to stay like this forever?
Right.
So for me, the hCG, when I went on it, I thought, okay, I'm going to give it my all. I mean, I never once wanted to cheat. I just never wanted to, because I thought, I want this to work for me. And but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's probably just going to be another one of those things.
Right.
And then the weight was coming off. Now, when you talked about cheating and how to correct it, there were times I messed up. There were like mistakes that I made.
Sure.
But it was just an error. And then it would balance itself out. Or I would go back and go, okay, what did you do wrong? Or, you know, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
And so it was coming down. There were days I stalled. There were days I gained. But all in all. And I ended up losing more than I really initially thought I was going to lose.
Wow. How much did you lose? Do you mind sharing?
I actually have lost, 25 pounds. So I wanted to lose 15, 20 at the most.
Okay.
And then when you announced, I think it was in January or February, that you were going to come out with the P3, I was already getting nervous, thinking, how am I going to transition? How's this going to work?
We all do that. It's like, you get so nervous.
Yeah, I was getting scared. So then you said it's going to be the end of February, and February comes, and it's like, it's not here. What am I going to do? So I confess, I stayed on P2 because I thought, okay, I'm scared. I don't want to get all this back, you know. And everything I was reading, people were having difficulty, and he left it so vague, you know, no starches, sugars, you know, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
So I did stay on, and then ended up losing more.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the whole time I've been on P3, what did I do with that?
Yeah.
I was on, from my last dose weight, I went back to I lost.
Yeah.
And then I went back to my last, that after day 6, and I've been under it since. And at one point, and I did not mean to, but I lost
Yeah.
another 3.5 pounds under that.
Wow.
And so
during P3, you mean, or?
yes, during my
Wow, that's amazing.
But I didn't. I mean, I'm trying not to lose.
It just happened naturally. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm eating what you have put down plus.
Wow, that's exactly, actually, I just did an interview last night, and she tweaked it a little bit more where she did less recipes, but she's been using the P3 recipes, and she actually ended up losing like 8 pounds or something. But she said the thing was that she wasn't hungry. Like, she's like, I was eating your meals, and I felt totally satisfied, and then I just lost weight, like, and she was happy with losing a little more, so, and it was great, because she was like, I wasn't hungry, like, I didn't feel like I was on a diet. So that's awesome. It's amazing. It just speaks to how much vegetables and volume can play a role in everything. It's like, you don't realize, like, wow.
Right, and the thing is, I took it, and that's, I think, when I emailed you, that 2 pounds either way from your ending last,
your LIW, your last injection weight.
So I thought, okay, 2 pounds over, 2 pounds under, and then when I hit the 3.5, I was like, uh-oh, you need to eat more.
Yeah,
because I want to keep going, and I don't. I'm looking a little bit wasted.
Yeah, you look great. Like, you don't look like you need to do anymore. So
thank you. Well, I really don't want to lose anymore, but yet I do want to be able to have.
Then that's the nice thing. It's like, cool, I get extra P3 smoothies, or you can add more butter to a dish. It's like awesome. Like, what a great problem to have.
It is nice to not have that feeling anymore. The only problem is none of my clothes fit me. I'm now having to wear my leggings.
Yeah.
But they're all getting too big too.
Wow.
So I said to my husband,
do you mind sharing your actual numbers, like your size difference and your weight difference, or no?
I don't mind. It's just I don't know. My 6s were getting really, really tight.
Yeah.
And I got into I don't even know why I kept this thing. It's this little tiny jean skirt that's just like a 2.
Yeah.
And I'm that again. And so I'm shocked.
In that? Oh my God.
I'm just like, whoa, I didn't think I was going to see that again.
And do you mind telling us your age? You don't have to. Okay, never mind.
No,
edit that out.
It's okay. I'm 57.
Well, you know what? The reason is because there's so many women in various age brackets, and they're like wanting to know, like, will this work for me? Or like they feel like, well, that works for other people, but anyway.
Yes, I'm up there, and I still can't believe it. I'm going to a 40-year high school reunion next month.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote, I feel like I'm still 20. I'm like, yeah, I know what you're saying.
That's what my mom says too.
But no, I'm a boo-boo. I have 9 grandchildren.
Wow, that's great.
And I'm not grandma. I'm boo-boo.
You look fit. Oh, that's so cute. You look fantastic. But that's amazing. You're fitting into such a tiny skirt.
Yes, and those are from the days when I taught aerobics, and there were times I taught 3 classes a day.
Wow.
And when I went to my bioidentical doctor, he told me, which I thought this was an amazing little bit of data, that many women average will gain like 35 pounds, I believe he said, in menopause. And I was like, no, that's terrible.
Wow.
And it's just sad when you've worked out your whole life and then you hit menopause and it's like,
I know. Yeah, I actually kind of wonder that for myself for when I eventually get there, because right now I feel very stable, and like I do know that, like, well, someday I know my hormone levels are going to change them. I'm going to probably have to figure that one out, or maybe I'll have to do a round of hCG again. I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Well, and I think with the hormones, and now that it's gotten so it's different with the bioidentical, because I was against just doing the synthetic hormones. Not want to go that route.
Yeah.
So I was suffering terribly.
Gotcha.
And my husband finally goes, I don't care what it costs, just go take care of it.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So, but I have to drive to St. Louis. So it's once a quarter, and I do the testosterone pellets and everything else. And then we do blood tests. So, I mean, he really stays on top of it.
Do you feel better on the bioidentical hormones then?
Oh, it's
way better.
If this weren't going to be so public, I would describe my symptoms, which were awful.
Yeah.
And when your husband says, go take care of it,
you're like, okay, I better do that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, man. So I'm so glad. That's good.
I did. And, I don't really think of myself as a depressed person, but it was just one day after I'd been on it for a while, it was like I felt lighter. It was just like I guess
Yeah.
when your hormones are out, it affects everything, even your
Right.
mood. But
Yeah.
I just was like, wow, I just feel better.
You just feel
So
better.
that helped. It did
Cool.
help with my toning because I continued working out. I
Yeah.
used to do aerobics. I told you that. I had a lot of overuse injuries. So
Yeah.
I had gone to just the treadmill, less impact on my feet, and then
Yeah.
I found, and I'm not pushing this. I'm just saying I loved it for core,
Yeah.
because I had to change the way I did setups and things. But I went to it PIO, so it's a combination of Pilates and yoga.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I'm not pushing her. I'm just saying it was good for me because
Yeah.
it gives you different workouts.
Yeah.
And so
That's
I like
great.
that. We have basically a full gym in our basement because we live in
Cool.
such a rural town. There are no
Yeah, you have
gyms.
to have your own stuff,
Yeah,
huh?
do our own thing. So I had gone to that, and so that's where I want to get back. And to tell you, I tried to walk a couple times on P2 and totally stabilized. My body was like, nope, you're not going to do that. So
Yeah.
then just in P3, I worked out day before yesterday. I went down and got on the treadmill, and I didn't do hardcore. I said, I'm going for 20, and I came up 40 minutes later because I just couldn't get off.
Yeah.
And so I'm bringing that back in, but I wanted to stabilize. I didn't want to lose too much. So I
Yeah.
think at this point forward, I am
Cool.
going to get back into where I was because I do
Good.
need to tone up.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where I am.
Cool.
Any
So,
suggestions for P4 from this point other than just adding and just kind of tweaking everything?
yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like for you that, like, okay, so you said that with the P3 program, you followed it pretty exactly. It sounds
Oh,
like the
every
original
day.
plan. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So
Uh-huh.
that means you did have your calories kind of increase each week. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because by week 3, you're like at, well, of course, unless you were hungry, of course, but yeah, I think by week 3, it's like the 14 to 1500 calories a day. So
Yeah.
it's like if you were still losing, you'd probably want to add more calories even. Plus, it's like if you can adjust your body up, it's nice, you know. The other thing I'm going to be doing when I add weeks 4 to 6 eventually,
Oh, hey.
yeah, we will be adding in some complex carbs, not like tons, but small amounts, like where it's like, for instance, a meal that has like some sweet potato fries, for instance.
Okay.
You know, so like in a small amount, and then like my idea was what I was going to do with that. So if you want to try copying it, was like to do basically where you add it in, but you don't have it necessarily every day or for every
Right.
meal. So it's like maybe, or if you're going to eat, you know, one meal with the sweet potato fries, maybe 3 nights in a row, because some people are wanting to, you know, have more meals more times. Then you might have your lunches without a complex carb or something, just
Right.
to break into it, you know, or, you know, just something like that. So that was kind of what I was gonna do on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is choose your carbs and just basically, like you say before, I think 1 carb a day, basically. So when
It
I
was
do
just
my
an
wine,
idea
that's
to,
going to be
to break
carb.
into it because everyone, yeah, in my plan, I'm trying to be very cautious just because everyone's body's different. Like
Mhm.
some may be able to add more right away without a problem, but then some won't. And I just wanted as many as people as possible to be successful. So yeah, I mean, whatever ends up feeling like good for your body. But the
Uh-huh.
other thing is I don't think I used to think about this at all. I heard it on a podcast once and I was like, oh, good point. When you add carbs in, if you're already eating at a maintenance level of calories,
Mhm.
that means that either your protein or your fat has to go down because otherwise you're actually adding
Balance.
calories. So some people
Right.
think they gained from carbs when actually they added carbs on top of everything they were eating and they've actually added daily calories and maybe that's also too much. And I thought that was interesting.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so it's like if you don't reduce the other macros a little, then now you're just consuming more. And so I was
Mhm.
like, whoa, duh, I totally never thought of that. You know?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, it makes sense though, when you say that.
Yeah, but if you do need more calories, then you can actually add on top and then it can be
Sure.
okay, you know? And I've also found, like, you know, I don't know if you'll end up figuring this out too for yourself, but I found I can eat certain carbs more than other carbs. So
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
realize it's not necessarily all carbs are off limits, but just that some my body tolerates better without gaining, and then others it's like, not so
Yeah.
much.
Like you can tolerate the sweet potatoes, but you may not do as well with say even a white potato
Could
or
be, yeah. Like I actually
or.
do really good with regular potatoes and
Mhm.
corn tortillas, actually. And keep in mind, like I CrossFit too, and
You do, and
So
I
I
knew
mean, I
that.
think that's why
That's a good
I
workout.
think I'm very
Mhm.
insulin sensitive. Yeah, my body really uses the carbs in a good way, I think. But yeah, I think everyone will be different, and like I'm completely gluten free. I cannot, that it hurts very bad if I have any gluten, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately today, it's so much easier to accommodate those
Yes.
restrictions.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas years past, there were like maybe 2 items on the grocery store that you could get that was
I
gluten free.
know, yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that,
mean, and like you said, with the things like the veggie rice, like cauliflower rice or broccoli rice, like, I'm
mm-hmm.
like, man, why didn't we all think of this 10 years ago? Like,
Yeah,
this is such a great idea.
yes.
It's
And I had
awesome.
done the spaghetti squash for years and love it. Now,
Cool.
but that's always nice. But
Right.
that was spaghetti. My homemade spaghetti is
Yeah.
not nearly as good as using the miracle noodles, which I did last night because I knew I was going
Cool.
to have wine. So I thought,
Nice.
okay, what are you
Right.
going to do?
See, and that was smart doing stuff like that where you trade out stuff so that it kind of
Mm-hmm.
evens out.
The miracle noodles tend to absorb the sauce
Yeah.
better, I think, and
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's just getting used to it. I just give the warning, hold the bag back, don't lean over and smell. But
Yeah, I
they're
know. They smell weird at first. I always have to rinse them out too. It's like, oh, it's weird. They say it's
yeah,
the processing, like the stuff they use to process it, that causes that smell. It's like a,
yes,
I don't
it's
know.
fishy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
fishy.
know. That's funny.
But I love the spices. I just got a huge order of spices
Oh.
from. Is it Simply? What is it called?
Oh, was it
Simply.
the Savory Spice Shop?
Yes,
Or
that you
online that I
suggest.
had mentioned. Oh,
So
great! Another
yeah,
another P3tolifer actually brought that to my attention, and I just ordered from
that's
them too. I got this lemongrass curry spice from them just recently, and I used
mm,
it in like this. I just made up this Thai curry thing. It was so good. Yeah,
ooh.
we'll have that
Sam-
in the show notes, you guys. Savory Spice Shop. It's just a really great, affordable, and really fresh. They have really fresh spices and some neat concoctions. So
And
yeah,
just spices that you can't find. I found black
yeah.
truffle salt
Oh,
in there too, which
nice.
I had gotten that in New York. So,
Yeah.
I can't just find that everywhere. Whoops,
Right.
my is popping up. So I like
Fantastic.
that. And the knife, everybody's gonna get one in their stocking this year. The
Oh, are
$7.
they?
Yeah,
So do you like the knife too?
I love that knife, and I have some decent knives. That
Yeah.
is like my go-to knife.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh. You guys, so what she's talking about is I have a tools guide in the P3 program, and and I have a little video tutorial even on it just because I love it so much. It's a $7 knife, and I swear I learned about it in a Thai cooking class I took years ago, and it cuts everything so well. And what I had loved was that it's so lightweight because I get
mhm.
wrist pain if I have to do lots of chopping, and some of those really expensive high-end knives they're
Yeah,
heavy. And
they
then
are.
they get dull. I don't know. For some reason, just these knives are just awesome.
It is a great little knife.
Cool.
What was it? The other thing I was gonna say that I did. I tried to do my apple peeler core slicer. It doesn't work with a zucchini, so I'm gonna have to write down and buy
Oh, the
the new.
spiralizer.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it
Yeah.
didn't. So I was like, yeah, it's all right. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
You got your
Um,
American noodles.
but that was great to use. I'm trying to think. The pot, I haven't bought that yet.
Instant pot. Yeah.
Something because it looks like it really cuts down the time. But
It
that's something
does.
I
Like
need to
last
get.
night, I just cooked 6 chicken breasts in the Instant Pot. I put it on for
Yeah,
like 30 minutes, manual pressure. And then I actually made the buffalo chicken salad too last night.
oh, I
But
love
I
that.
doubled it. I made a double batch. So I put that in there. And then I took 4 of the breasts out. And then I chopped it up and put it in there. And it was just so easy, and fast. Yeah.
And you know what? I cook a lot and I
Yeah.
always have, but
Yeah.
I love that you have the tutorials because I can always pick up tips from you.
Good.
But those who don't cook, it just, there it is. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's
It
so
takes
simple.
away the intimidation factor, right? I think,
It does.
hopefully.
And
Yeah.
all your meals are so easy. I mean, most
Good.
of the time it's spent prepping the food,
Yeah.
and thank goodness I have a Vitamixer. It's not, mine must be a lower end than yours because I don't have as many buttons, but it works beautifully. But,
Good. I actually
it
wanted to ask you
saves.
about that. Because you mentioned, because I'm so big on the P3 dessert smoothies, is what she's talking about. So in the P3 program, every night there's like an allocation in the calories for this P3 dessert smoothie, and it's meant to replace traditional dessert. It's not kale. It's not a healthy smoothie. It's for dessert, but it's sugar free and it tastes like dessert. So you said you liked them. Could you tell me like how? Yeah. So you have a Vitamix. Like how was it learning to make them and like you really just tell me what you thought of them. Yeah.
Well, I've tried them all, and I love every one of them. And I'm not a banana fan, but the banana one with the toast, when you finally can have walnuts, it's like, oh my goodness! So you
Yeah.
toast walnuts, and I've made that like 2 or 3 times now.
Really
It's really,
cool.
But mine had a learning curve. I think
Yeah,
yours
no,
is
it is a learning curve, and I knew that. I was a little nervous actually. That's why I made some tutorials, and I'm like, I hope people will stick with it because if you get it, it really is awesome.
It is. And the first time I made it, I did it like you did and dumped everything in, and mine was all icy crunchy. And I was like, okay.
Gotcha.
So I had to learn if I do it like you did it, but only do 2 ice cubes at a time and then pulse it and then hit the zapper. I get this huge bowl of a smoothie, and it comes
Okay,
out
so
completely different.
explain that again, because someone else can do this. Okay, so you put in the liquids and your
I,
Vitamix,
I do your layering like you say,
and then
except
you
for
do
the
2 ice cubes,
at a time, and then
and
I
then you
pulse it
pulse,
till
and
it
then add
breaks down.
2 more.
Well, then I hit the press thing where it'll go for several seconds till I hear it, you know, till
Okay.
it sounds like it's smoothing. Then I add 2 more until I get my 7 or 9 or however many cubes that it takes.
Ooh,
And then I get the big volume. Because before mine was like,
Yeah,
you know,
no, I mean the texture is where it's at. If you can't get the
Mhm.
texture, you're just kind of like,
Yeah,
it's
it's not as good. One other thing I was going to mention too, for whatever, when I've had to go out with people when I was in the beginning of P3 and on P2 and go to restaurants, and
Yeah.
sometimes there's a diner, so I would drink coffee, but a lot of times I have learned, I found a tea, peppermint tea that is delightful. It's divine. It's very robust.
Okay.
And what I did is I got the chocolate stevia.
Yeah.
So I steeped my peppermint tea. This is before we got to P3, and then I put my chocolate stevia in there, and it's like this chocolate peppermint. And I drank that all winter long on that, and I'm just
How
thinking, I've got this huge thing, and there's nothing. Then I heard a tip, and I haven't tried it yet, and I bought the stuff to do it, but I heard a tip on TV where if you're going to go out to dinner, which for me, we did a lot of socializing, so this winter was the best time for me to do this diet because I didn't have as much. They took and they did a diet root beer, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to do the club soda or mineral water.
Yeah.
Add my root beer stevia.
Stevia, okay.
And then add a tablespoon of heavy cream or half and half, and then stir that up. So you got the fat, and then and then you drink that like right before you go to a get together.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps you feel so full, because I don't know about you, but I get to talking, and if I'm having wine, then I'm eating, and before you know it, I'm eating all the way around the table. You know?
Oh yeah.
So it helps kind of like take that hunger thing down a notch.
Smart.
And so yeah, I'm excited to try that and see.
That.
And while I was on P3, and my other daughter had a baby, so I went to her house, and while I was on P2 and P3, and so while I was cooking, I'm talking bacon, eggs, pancakes, all this stuff, I was constantly wearing gloves, disposable gloves.
Yeah.
So the grandkids are like, "Boo Boo, do you have an owie?" It's like, no. And the one, his dad's a paramedic, and he goes, "Are you going to shock me?" I'm like, no. Because I had gloves on to wipe their peanut butter faces and everything. So it's just, you just have to make it fit into your life. And people were bringing in food. We had 2 birthday parties. We had a party for the baby when she came home. So the boys wanted to bake her a cake. And so I was able to get through P2 and function in a very social thing without compromising. So then when I went to P3, it was just, oh good, no more gloves, and we can go to there. But I think in P2 it's just simple things like that. You go to cook something for your family and you're touching the butter or whatever and not thinking about it.
Right.
So I went through like 2 full boxes of
the gloves.
How
funny. No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to do, Yeah.
But with P3, I was so elated, and when I got it and I started looking at the recipes, I was like, I'm so excited to eat this. And I'd want to sit down and eat slow and savor, but it's like so good.
You're like, ah.
Yes. But the mahi mahi with asparagus, that's another really, really good one. I had to write that. You know what else is good? That salmon and broccoli slaw, and you suggested doubling it, and I think that would be good to have. That then you can use it as a lunch crossover.
Yeah, totally. Because it was good and it was so easy, So
yes.
Good.
And you said to buy the broccoli slaw already.
Yeah, man.
Piece of cake.
Easy.
Yes.
Good. So when you followed it, now, because, it's just, I love, since this is, you guys are my first set of P3tolifers, so I'm just like trying to figure out how you guys did this and how it went. So since you did follow it, and you said you actually lost a few pounds, but so it sounds like your weight was fairly stable. I mean, even though it maybe did it gradually go down though, but it wasn't like, you weren't like up and down though. It was fairly.
On P3?
Yeah.
No, I have been, let me find my log.
Because I think that's what we get so nervous about, and I had that in P3 before. It was like, it's the scary part, especially the first week. Sometimes your weight's so volatile, and so when you don't have a plan for eating, it's like you can be up 2 pounds and then down 2 pounds after a steak day, but then up 1.5, and it's just scary, you know. So it was more stable for you then?
Yes. I actually saw, I didn't remember this. The first day I went up 0.6 of a pound.
Yeah.
And then, but I used the ultra, I forgot to mention this. When I was on P2, I did do the extra because I did not want to feel tired. So I did with the bees and all that. So when I went to the ultra burn, I thought, you know, I'm still I didn't want to mess it up. So I did do the ultra burn, which is
I was curious about that because people actually ask me about the ultra burn injections all the time and the lipo shots, and I never took them. So I never know what to say. I'm like, I don't know. People say they help, but I don't really know if they do. Do you personally feel they really did help?
I do. And I'll tell you, I think it's helped me with my energy. And like I said, I lost fast. And so I think I look a little wasted. Yeah. I didn't see myself nude until I came home from my daughter's, and I was like, I got to slow down. I got to stop.
Yeah.
My husband's like, that's enough.
I know, it's okay. We're done now.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, I'm not losing anymore.
But again, that's a problem easily fixed, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I was glad I had ordered the Ultra Burn, and they accidentally shipped me a second one, which is fine now. I'm glad they did because I'm going to stay on it.
Gotcha.
For a while.
So that's good to hear that you really felt it made a difference in even possibly your losses and your energy. That's
right. I think it helped with the energy a lot. I really do.
Because you know, sometimes just like with hCG, you know, people that don't believe in hCG, they're just like, oh, that's just a way for people to make money. And so when people ask me about the Ultra Burn, and of course that's not true with hCG because I did it, I believe. But since I haven't done the Ultra Burn, it's like I don't want to recommend and say, oh, you should do that because it costs more. If it doesn't help, like I just didn't know. And so that's neat to hear your feedback on that.
Right. I wanted it for the energy level, and I needed it for just for the toning. I just
it
more
does
the energy.
supposedly help
I didn't
your
want to feel
liver.
tired.
Yeah, it supposedly does help your liver metabolize fat more efficiently. So in theory, it does make sense, and it's more localized because you're injecting it. So that's cool. That's awesome.
Yes, and anybody who's nervous about injections, well, as a nurse, you know, I don't mind giving anybody a shot, right? Yeah. But it's such a it's the insulin needle, and the needle is, in fact, if you're not careful, you'll bend it, which I've done, and then have
because they're so thin.
They're so fast. It's just like a little doop, and it's done.
And so was the Ultra Burn injections the same, also needle, or were they longer?
Yeah, it's the same. Gotcha. It's an insulin, and they recommend that you don't do it on Saturdays and Sundays, and just do it Monday through Friday, which is what I've been doing. So, the lady I talked to once, they shipped the second dose, and I called him and I said, "Am I on auto ship? You know what happened here?" Yeah. And she said that she uses it every day and has for years, and it helps her with her workout. So that's why I'm excited to get into that. Because you know, your energy level, if you're tired, it's nothing's worth it. You know, because we are busy. And if you want to be able to get back to working out, you certainly want to have the energy to do it. But you know, when I was telling you that, we get up really early, anywhere from 4 to 5 in the morning. So when I was helping with the grandbabies, I would get up at 4:30 and start cooking breakfast and stuff. So I was grateful that I did do the extra lipo on that too.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I just had to get a head start on them. She has 4 babies.
Wow. She's so lucky to have such an awesome mama.
Oh. But I love everything.
That's great. That's awesome.
So, but I'm just saying, any of those that you can help, I think it helps with the energy and makes you stay on it because you're not tired and you're not dreading it. And
that makes such a difference. It's so true. If you because there was rounds when I did hCG, even though I had never used that, there was rounds where I felt pretty good, like energetic. Probably had more cortisol going, and then there was a couple rounds where I just felt bone tired, and it made it almost not doable. And I think that's what my second round did happen, and then that just turned into a big fat mess. Like it was just like a disaster.
Yeah, and you think, you know, you've spent the money, you want to make it work,
and even the time. You've allocated, like, okay, like it's hard. You're having to adjust your whole life for like 6 weeks, and it's like you don't have to do that again. Like, you know,
I've probably lost some friends because I didn't socialize with people because I wanted to control it, you know.
Yeah.
So, the P3, I can't express how grateful I am to have that because I did not want to make the mistakes. and have to do it again. One and I'm done. And that's how
Yeah.
I want it to be. And I want to be just like you and say
Aw.
5 years down the road and I'm where I
I
need to be.
really hope that that happens more because it's so freeing to not just always having to deal with that. Because, you know, as women, we all know, like when you have weight issues, it's kind of like a year-round thing. Thinking about when you're gonna try again to lose weight, when you're gonna try to start a diet again, and you know, and it's just it takes so much out of your life, you know.
Yes, and there's so many other things that I want to do in my life.
Exactly.
It's like, worry about that, you know.
Yeah.
And do a workout, eat right, and I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
don't feel anymore.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was very skeptical to start the whole thing, and so when it worked, I was like, yay! And then I really was grateful for you bringing in the
Aw.
P3 because it was like the whole process, the whole program
Cool.
is here it is, and then you've given us the maintenance, so
Good.
options of adding to it to increase the
Yes.
to stay where we are. So
Right.
I don't need anything else. And there's so many recipes in here
Cool.
that I really don't even have to ever have anymore. But
Yeah.
anything that you bring out is really
Yeah, there's gonna be a whole nother week 4 to 6. So yeah, it's
good.
gonna be fun.
I mean, because you do the Thai, the Mediterranean. I mean, you do
Yeah, the
Mexican, which is my great one. Now, if we can come out with chips and salsa and margaritas,
Yeah, you should try my husband's Mexican street tacos. Are so good.
Ooh.
Those do have corn tortillas, though, of course. So maybe at the very end of phase 4. Yeah.
Maybe he could share that recipe with us.
Oh
and
yeah, he's good. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
So, the protein powder, I mean, I have probably 3 different protein powders.
Yeah.
I think I messed up when I made those protein bars and put too much powder and they were a little dry, but they were still tasty.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you mentioned, I think you weighed the scoop, didn't you? Did you say?
I did, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'll go back and look at that.
But it's in the post. Yeah, I'll go look at it. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, I will too, because I know every container I have,
Right,
and
they
I'm
can be
always
different.
being careful to. They are. Some are 90,
And it is
some
true
are
that
30.
particular recipe was very not, like it wasn't super liquidy, but I could see how if just a little bit was different, then it wouldn't work. So I might have to go back and actually tweak it, or maybe provide more options so that it's gonna work more, you know, without it being perfectly exact. Yeah.
You know, the thing that I think helps people a lot, I've always been a label reader because it blows my mind, the salt, I mean, sugar that they put in everything. So I've always, my husband is so annoyed. I go, then don't go shopping with me because I'm going to read my labels. But so many of those protein shakes, you know, you just, and not just protein shakes, spices, anything, you just really have to look down your labels and see. And you give so many good recommendations, whether you're endorsing the product or not. It's just, this works and this fits the criteria that we need.
Yeah.
And I think it helps people because if you are not aware of that and you're just at the store and you grab those tomatoes or you grab that and you don't realize that there's stuff in there that can sabotage what you've been working so hard on. So I think you helped so much, make people aware that, it pays to read those labels. And even, I will tell you this, I went to go get some deli meat because I could have some on this phase 3, and I said, would you please read the label?
Yeah.
And so he looks in the ingredients, he goes, oh, there's no sugar. And I go, sir, what's the label say?
Yeah.
And it had sugar in it. I go, oh, okay, thank you. So my husband
high
bought
fructose corn syrup. Or
yeah, exactly. So he bought a turkey, and I put a rub on it that was acceptable, and then he smoked it. So, you know, but it's just that kind of stuff where before I would have just bought that deli meat and not said, hey, is there sugar in it? And he looked at it, of course, when it gives the nutrients, it says, oh, there's no sugar. Well, you read the ingredients, and there is. So, you know, it's little things like that. And I go, sorry, can't take it. So, and it's so fun in P3. You get to have cheese, and you can have nuts, and it's just awesome.
Good. And I'm so glad that you ended up liking the dessert smoothies too, you know, because it's fun. I feel like it's a really nice replacement, you know, and you just can't get into trouble with them because they're so low calorie. Like it's, you know, I just feel like that's what's nice.
Honest, when I'm done it, now I am full. I am just full, you know, and that's a nice feeling because I don't know if people are thinking of doing this and they've been on diets before where you're so hungry all the time, and that's no fun.
No, in fact, actually, just to be honest, this past summer, I kind of got inspired to because I went to this CrossFit certification class to be a certified CrossFit trainer. Yeah, just for my own personal education. So I went, and one of the teachers, the trainers, was she was just really ripped, really fit gal, and I just felt inspired by her. I was like, oh, I want to look more like her. You know, she was just more defined than I was. So I was asking her, what she eats and all that, and she's like, you should just try just tracking your food for a while just to get an idea of what you're eating. And I was like, maybe I should, because I've always kind of put that off. And so I did, and it was interesting. And then I signed up with this program that does nutrition coaching for more like athletes, like CrossFit athletes, to help them like either build muscle or lean out. So I signed up with them, and I was like, okay, I'm going to just try this and see if I can get, more cut or whatever.
Definition,
and
yeah.
what she put me on, for me, was like something that I would lose a little fat, but hopefully still feel okay at CrossFit. So there was actually a fair amount of carbs and not as much fat, which was just for this particular, because with CrossFit you have to have carbs, so yeah. I was only on it for honestly 5 days, and I was so miserable because I was and it was like 1,700 calories, because for me that would be losing weight with my metabolism, and I was hungry. I was emailing her, I'm like, I'm really hungry, and I really don't feel like this is worth it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm hungry. And she's like, well, just try to, stick with it or eat some vegetables. And I just was like, you know what? Because I'm already fit. I was like, this is not worth it. And I gave up. I was like, no, this is too. So it's just really hard to be hungry. And if you're really overweight and you're on hCG, it makes sense. But it's like when you're trying to be stable and maintain, and you're thinking about your whole future, like living a certain way, you don't want to be feeling like, oh, I have to kind of live every day always feeling like I'm not really getting enough,
Right. It is frustrating.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning the app to track yourself, and I did that all through P2. In fact, I would change on my P2 if I in the morning I would add up everything I was going to have that day.
Yeah.
And if it looked like it was going to be over, I would switch things. So it was like I didn't have to fix a mistake. I already knew, okay, this is what I can have. So that helped in that respect.
That's good.
But talked about the Fitness Pal, it didn't add up correctly.
Right. I've actually found it to be pretty inconsistent. I have to be careful which ones I select in the ingredients, and I have to double check it in other sources, because sometimes it's actually completely off. So, and that can be bad. You think I can only have a quarter cup of mushrooms, when really you can have 2 cups for what it's saying.
Yes. It's crazy, because I put one of the breakfasts in there one day, and it should have been like 190 calories. It showed it over 400, and I was like,
yeah,
no.
It's not.
And then you just want to go, forget it. I don't want to do it.
Right.
Because it's wasting your time.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's difficult, but I think it does help too, because it forces you to track your water and your working out, and it does. And I've used Fitness Pal for a long time, but I think I'm going to try more the Calorie King. I think is what you were.
Yeah, I mean that one's kind of a little more manual, but that's how I was able to just more get accurate calorie amounts, because for the dishes, because you don't want to be under eating, or that might be part of why people think they can only have a small volume of food for calories, because it's not calculated accurately.
Right.
Can you speak really quick, because you mentioned in your email to me that you felt like the portion sizes were good. Could you tell me about that a little bit for the audience?
Are you talking about
for P3 meals, the portion sizes of the food?
Oh,
did it feel like
I wish
substantial?
I had my bowl from today, because it was a mound of what did I say? Buffalo chicken salad.
Oh, the buffalo chicken salad. Yeah. Okay.
And then 2 cups of lettuce, and I was it was huge.
Yeah.
And like I said, my husband will have a meat and maybe a salad and a vegetable, and occasionally I'll give him a little bit of rice or something.
Yeah.
And so he's over there eating his little bit, and I've got this huge plate mounted, and I'm just chowing down.
Awesome.
And I'm not eating near the volume of fat and stuff that he's doing. So it's a lot of food, and I do like to eat a lot.
Yeah.
And like I told you, that's how I've always controlled my diet was diet and exercise. And then I came back in the 80s from the horrible phase where you ate a lot of carbs, that fat was horrible.
No fat, right.
So which probably set my body up for what happened later down the road.
Yeah.
And learning, the fats are good. So it's just the amount of food is incredible.
Good.
And even when I try to weigh it out, I have to get bigger containers, because there's so much food to try to split it between the 2 meals.
Oh, good.
So,
I'm so glad to hear that. Another gal on my other interview, she's like, yeah, actually, I found for me that the one where you said it was 2 servings, for me, it was really more like 3. So I split it into 3, because she would get full. So I was like, well, great, that's awesome.
She's better than I am. If this is 2, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, I know, me too.
And you know, you did the
Made by an
frittata.
eater for eaters.
Yeah, I'm there. But the frittata, it makes 4 nice pie-shaped
Great.
servings.
Yeah.
And so yesterday I was gone all day and I didn't eat lunch until 3. And actually usually I would have been just famished, but I did okay. But what I did is sauteed a cup or so really quickly in my pan of spinach and reheated that frittata
Nice.
because I needed to get out of the house pretty
Yeah.
quickly. So that frittata with some sauteed spinach, that just held me all morning long. And then I had the half of that buffalo chicken salad.
Cool.
So,
Good.
and I didn't, like I said, I didn't get to eat till 3. And normally I'm eating at 11:30 to noon, you know, I'm really hungry. So that's the other thing is it keeps you satisfied and it helps you get through, especially if you're busy and you know you're not going to get to eat. So
yeah, that's good. I read some part of because the protein, the diet, the phase 3 program it's a high protein on purpose. And I mentioned in there, I've added some notes for people to know that like this might be higher protein than you're used to having. And I did do some research online, and it does provide. It actually causes your body to release more of a satiety hormone than fat or carbohydrates. Actually, obviously, a ketogenic diet would be different because then your body's in a ketosis. So that's different. Of course, then you're not hungry. But when it comes to just eating regular meals with a combination of protein and fat and carbs, it was actually having a high protein meal out of high fat or high carb. It did release more of a satiety hormone than the others. And so that's kind of partly why it's a higher protein, because I do find that I get full faster when there's more protein. So it's just interesting. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I think my body's like happy because I don't think I was giving myself enough protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think it's easy for us to underdo that, you know, just because it's not something we crave usually.
Right.
You know, when you want to munch, you're not like, I want to snack on chips or like I dessert. Like you're not like, oh, I'd like to snack on some chicken breasts. It's not usually what you're thinking. But by incorporating it into a tasty meal, that's a full meal, then you can eat it and it tastes good, you know. So
yeah, it is so good, and just the variety of the recipes that you have in there. It's so good. My husband's like, wow, that looks really good. I'm proud of you for eating this or that. You know,
good.
It's good stuff. And it really is. And I can see just cooking these over and over and over again, even if you never released anymore. And I was so scared, even though I mentioned that I cook, I was scared to let myself go beyond and try to experiment, like I said, because I just did not want to sabotage what I just finished.
Yeah.
So I mean, somebody else may want to just freestyle, and that's fine. And like you said, if you've got the time and you want to do all that, that's fine. But I appreciated having every bit of this just laid out or ready to go, and I can follow through. And then, you know, just looking ahead of the day and go, okay, got to take out some thighs for tomorrow or those pork chops for tomorrow and that kind of thing. So I think it's so doable and it works. So sorry, I had a message there. But you've just totally changed it, and I would tell anybody, you know, to try it and see. And you know, maybe they do need to be like me and have some hormone tweaking done to make it. I don't know. I mean, because that's where I came from. I was already in that, and then it's like you were like the fairy godmother and came along. And,
oh my goodness.
Like, thank you.
Aww.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that it could be a part of helping it. Like you said, sometimes there's other elements that have to be addressed with the thyroid and the female hormones. And it's like, you guys, that may still be something. You know, hCG doesn't fix everything. But if you can have all the different parts and work on them, it can, make it more likely to be successful.
Yeah, getting your body in homeostasis, and then it works so much better. So. But I'm excited, and I appreciate the exercise videos too. You could do a little cross spinning there for us.
I know. I'd like to add some other stuff later, just as time allows. But I thought I would just do that for a little bit.
I like that, and I don't know if there's anything that anybody could use. I mean, I know like this year we're doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And so some of the places we're actually going to drive to, so I've already planned to just freeze food, pack and take my husband. But, you know, like for flying, if you get stuck, you know, and things like that, I don't know if those are some tips maybe.
There are. Yeah, actually, I would love to talk about that for a minute for people on phase 2 and phase 3, really, because I do get that question. like how do you handle eating out or traveling or those different things. And just I caught on earlier to what you said about that you pack a lunch cooler and that you don't care what people think. And I thought, yes, I would love for you to talk about that, because sometimes part of it is really not so much that there aren't options, it's that we feel bad or like we're not comfortable being different, and you obviously are, and like you just need to do that. You just have to be like, I'm going to be different and that's how it's going to be, but yeah, share your tips on that.
Well, for instance, last week we went up north to my grandson had a baseball game, and I just packed my food. And so, of course, we wanted to take him out afterwards. Unfortunately, it was a small town. So, actually, my daughter-in-law went in, and she goes, hey, we have someone that's on a special diet. Do you care if they bring their food in? I'm like, sure. And which I would have not eaten if they had said that and just had something to drink and then eaten later. Which would have been fine. Right. But then she comes out and she goes, do you need some silverware? And I'm like, yeah. So I had chopped my peppermint tea that I talked about. And she goes, is there anything else? I go, could I bother you for a cup of hot water? So she gave me a cup of hot water. Now, granted, we bought the whole meal, desserts, and Rich picked up somebody else's meal, so we spent some money.
Right, it's not like you were there by yourself eating for free.
Right. So, I've done that several times, and even on P2, we went out with some friends. I tried to avoid social as much, but it was kind of hard.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and I drank coffee and water, and we took the children out for breakfast several times, and I just drank coffee. I ate before I went, and then I drank coffee. But if it's a meal, I'll just ask them, do you care? And all I have to say is I'm on a restrictive special diet. They don't have to know who's my
of course.
Yeah. So I don't really care, and it keeps me where I need to be. So
that's good. I just love that you're at that point in life where you're like, this is how it is. So.
Yeah, it used to bug my husband, now not so much. But, if it were a really nice restaurant, I probably would choose not to go there. But, if it's like a little place in town, but I wouldn't feel bad at all. And it's your body. You need to.
It is. That's the thing, is sometimes I think we spend a lot of time, we end up things happen and we end up making the wrong choices over and over because we feel bad, like we're putting people out or we're doing such and such. And but then it's like in the end we're the ones suffering, like over and over for years. And it's like, well, at some point you have to make a decision, and like
and it's such a short time if you think about it in the big picture. You're taking this month or two or whatever it is out and for yourself.
Yeah, and thinking what you're getting out of it too. It's like for instance, sometimes it's like if the resulting effects don't, like for instance with the gluten, I will literally feel like I almost need to go to the emergency room because it's so painful if I have it. So for me, that's kind of like a pretty big impetus to know that, like, when I go to a restaurant, I'm not going to feel like, well, maybe I'll just have it because I don't want to put people out. It's excruciating, the results. So it's but the same thing, honestly, when you think about the residual effects from giving in over and over, it kind of can throw off your whole P2 or your whole diet that you're trying to pursue. And so just try to think of that. It's not just necessarily that one time. Sometimes it's where it throws you off mentally, where you kind of just keep spiraling out of control.
Right. And it just is a snowball effect. Is what happens. So, you have to do that. And I'm glad that you're bringing that up for people, because, if you do find yourself in those social events, and if people want to know, well, you just say, I'm on a special diet and I can't eat, just like you're gluten-free. I'm sure there's times you're in situations where you have to not, eat that.
Totally.
People
and
offer.
Like most people these days, more people are definitely like understanding. There's just a lot more people that do have various, they can't have dairy or they can't have nuts or they can't have gluten or whatever. So more people are, but even on occasion, because I live in a more rural area too, it's like I went somewhere and I'm like, well, I can't have flour, so, and they made some little kind of sarcastic remark about it. And I was like, you know what? I mean, I didn't say this to them, but like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, it's like, you can think whatever you want, but you don't have to feel how I feel after I eat that. So it's like, I'm not making this up. It's a real thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be just like somebody, it doesn't have the same detrimental effects.
They think
somebody
it's all difficult, but it's like, this is a real physical problem I'll have if I eat it. So.
And it's not pleasant.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stick to my guns. Yeah, so.
Oh, I think, yeah, you just have to.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, it's, then you slowly introduce different things in. I'm sure with your gluten-free, you've never been able to bring it back in?
No, because I've had a few occasions where I've had it like accidentally, and
Yeah,
it's very
but,
painful. Yeah, like I can have rice till the cows come home. I can have corn, organic corn, no problem. But yeah, the gluten, it hurts. Yeah, so
yes.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
bad.
I doesn't bother. You find things you can eat, so it doesn't matter in
You
the
do.
end. You
You
do.
do.
You
You
find
find your
your
way
new way of
around it.
life, your groove, and yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
there's so many cookbooks out there that are for gluten-free.
Yeah.
Or any other special diets.
Right. Yeah.
Too.
I know.
Do you find that you do a lot of the paleo? Do you adapt any of from those ever diet recipes?
Yeah, to be honest, I cook. I don't cook a lot. That sounds terrible.
Really?
I just made like this whole cooking program.
Yeah. Really? It's amazing.
I just eat really simply too. I eat a gluten-free like sandwich every day. Like it's not really a cooking. And then we cook at night sometimes, but I don't use a lot of although now I've been using my own P3 recipes because they are really good. They are a lot better.
So good.
I got inspired last night when I did the P3 success story interview, and then we were talking about the dishes, and I'm like, yeah, I need to make more of those myself. So then I made the buffalo chicken salad, and I'm like, man, this is so good. So much better than just some chicken and salt, so.
Yeah, and it's got that kick with the Louisiana
I know.
sauce.
So I do need to do that more
Yummy.
myself, but yeah, so. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of these
Oh,
gems today. I really
It's been my
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Yeah, and then so you guys today we talked a little bit about her phase 2 journey, and then with the phase 3 program, that's what she went through successfully, and that's at P3tolife.com. If you guys want to check that out. So it's a little bit separate from hCG Chica, but it's a whole like detailed phase 3 program that you can follow for stabilization. And so yeah, I've just been curious to see how you guys all did, and I'm so glad that it went well and that you were happy with it. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
And those shopping lists are amazing. I would just copy them off and highlight what I needed.
Good.
I'm sure it's such a time saver.
Good. That was the whole point. I wanted to do as much of the legwork for you guys as possible, because to me that's sometimes the thing that you just ends up stopping you, because there's so much work and planning and figuring, and if you're looking at a bunch of recipes, like how much do I need of everything? And so yeah, there's a grocery list, and now we'll have like Lynda followed the original meal plan, which has more recipes, which does take a little more time, but now there's also the simplified meal plan, and that has less recipes that you eat more of the week, because if you work full-time, like you mentioned, you could see how it'd be a little more of a struggle. So if you work full-time or you got kids or both, that's more doable. And yeah, so there's different options now too, and it's all laid out with the grocery list and the recipes, and I even have now a batch cooking schedules for the new documents, where it tells you if you want to cook as you go, this is what you cook on what day, and then a twice weekly cooking schedule where it's like this is what you cook on these 2 days, so it'll be just so you won't have to figure it out. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that'll be up shortly.
Yay, I appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I will keep my Bible and I'll just keep adding to it.
Good.
So
I'm glad. Thank you.
I love it. And the pictures on what it's supposed to look like. If you're not a cook, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Well, it's just so that you get an idea of, that makes you want to make it. That's the point of the photography. When I make it, it's not really looking like that in the end. I'm just throwing it in a dish and eating it. But yeah, it's like, to want to make something, it needs to look appealing to your eyes, or you just kind of feel like not interested.
Yes, it is so good. All the spices and things that you use just really make it yummy.
Good.
So,
well, thank you,
love
Lynda.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You've just been a blessing. I told you you're my little fairy godmother and helping me get this all fixed together as well.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I look forward to your next tutorials and whatever else you have to bring out. I'm right with you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.